Hi, I'm Elise and welcome to Which Way. Here are the top 5 witchy movies and series of Which Way Season 3. We're starting off strong here with one of my favourites, She Will. This eerie film follows an ageing actress who retreats to the Scottish Highlands with her carer to recover from a double mastectomy. Here, she connects with the land and the traces of the women who were burned there for witchcraft. This is a story of forging new connections and reclaiming your power, or even finding it for the first time. Alice Krige is stunning in the lead role, and the film is beautifully shot, drawing on the history of the Scottish witch trials and focusing on Janet Horne, the last woman legally executed for the crime of witchcraft. Next up is the horror Pyewacket. A teenager who dabbles in the occult is struggling with change and a strained relationship with her mother, insomuch as she goes as far as to curse her mother after a heated argument. She comes to regret this as she believes that something was listening, and now her life and that of her mother are at risk. This film also has a slight connection in it with metal and the occult, which I think is fascinating, and this film highlights the power of curses and the belief in them. The acting in this is fantastic, as is the witch lore involved, the title of the film coming from the confession of an accused witch naming one of her familiars. Next up is All of Them Witches, a documentary on witchcraft told from the perspective of modern witches. It delves into the history of witchcraft, from its pagan roots and those persecuted during the witch trials, through to witches in pop culture, witch influences, and the people who practice witchcraft today. Each host varies as much as each of their practices. This all-encompassing documentary is a must-watch for the modern witch. The name All of Them Witches could come from Edgar Allan Poe analysing his short story The Black Cat, in which he states, "All of them witches." Bringing in some children's films now, starting with the animated fantasy adventure Bartok the Magnificent. A street performer who also happens to be a bat who exaggerates their heroic feats is tasked with locating a young Tsar, believed to have been kidnapped by the evil witch Baba Yaga. His bear companion convinces him that this is their chance to become real heroes. They must complete 3 tasks for the witch Baba Yaga before she will reveal the location of the Tsar. This has been a favourite of mine for years, and Baba Yaga is, of course, from Russian folklore. The house she lives in stands on chicken legs. This is so far-fetched, but I love it, and I love the message this movie sends, that not everything is as it first appears. This next film sends a similar message, Spirited Away. This was my first time watching this beautifully animated family adventure fantasy film. It follows a child who inadvertently enters the spirit world with her parents, who are promptly turned into pigs. She makes a deal with the witch Yubaba in this world to stall for time so she can find a way to restore her parents and escape this magical world. This film really encourages kindness, understanding, and perseverance, and that you should look beneath the surface before making judgments. The witch in this film acts and sounds similar to the aforementioned Baba Yaga, but is said to have been inspired by the Yamauba, a yokai from Japanese folklore. Into series now with the horror drama supernatural series Penny Dreadful. This series follows a medium with a dark past. She is on a path of self-redemption, hoping to make up for the actions of her dark urges in the past, from which she is both haunted and hunted by. Her band of misfits take on supernatural forces who come their way and must fight together and summon their strengths, or find themselves alone in the darkness. This series takes inspiration from tales from the Victorian era, such as Jack the Ripper, and characters from its classic literature, such as Dorian Gray, Dracula, and Frankenstein. Well worth checking out this beautifully dark, twisted series, but maybe just leave it after season 2. The series finale is a little disappointing. Next we have the urban fantasy adventure series, Half Bad, aka the bastard son of the devil himself. In this world, there are 2 clans of witches at war with each other. Our teenage protagonist is born of both of these worlds, half bad on his father's side. A prophecy foretells that he will be the one to take down his father, but he wants to take destiny into his own hands and find out for himself. This series has the niche urban witches genre, which I would like to see more of, and is a tale of self-exploration and discovery. Though the series was cancelled after its first season, it's based off of the books Half Bad by Sally Green, so we can continue the story there. This year, I also delved into the supernatural horror drama Salem. This series follows the person who is the rising power of the Salem witches, who orchestrates the Salem witch trials to blame the innocent and use their spilled blood to complete a ritual that will reincarnate the devil himself. Though it's not without those standing in her way. A past flame tries to restore her humanity, and she struggles to hold power over the other leaders in the town of Salem, and even finds betrayal within her own ranks of witches. This dark series twists the events of the Salem witch trials and meshes it with even more European witch lore to make something incredibly enjoyable to watch, and actually comes to a brilliant ending after 3 seasons. This was definitely a highlight of my year, and I can't believe it took me so long to watch. Thank you to all of you who so highly recommended it. It was so crammed full of witch lore, I had to make a witch lore review for each season. Next up is the supernatural comedy Good Omens. The end of the world is upon us, according to the nice and accurate prophecies of Agnes Nutter, which it's up to an angel and a demon who have formed a closer relationship than either heaven nor hell would like to save the world they have come to love. Assisted by witch finders, a witch, and a self-proclaimed medium, they must stop the Antichrist from bringing on Armageddon. In season 2, they assist a former archangel with amnesia to discover what happened to them, and the forces of heaven and hell again stand in their way. This series is full of the humour of Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, who wrote the book this series is based on, and it was very interesting to see the roles our angel and demon have played in the biblical tales over the centuries since the world was created. Last but definitely not least is the dark horror comedy Wednesday. A morbid teenager is moved to a school for exceptional outcasts and begrudgingly decides to stay when a mystery presents itself in the form of a series of attacks, and she discovers an image prophesizing her part in the downfall of the school. Guided by visions and her witch ancestor, she must uncover the truth behind these attacks at the school before she becomes its next victim. This series is kooky at its finest. Not only is it a spin-off of the Addams Family, it has several nods to Gothic writer Edgar Allan Poe and to director Tim Burton's previous films. This series is visually stunning and quickly became ingrained in viral pop culture with the now famous Wednesday dance. I can't wait to see what season 2 brings. I also can't wait to see what season 4 of Which Way brings. I feel like I've come so far since uploading my very first Witch Lore review, and I've added some additional content to my channel since then with my Which Ways folklore and fairy tales and Which Way presents films. I have absolutely loved reading your comments of support, appreciation, and encouragement over the years, as well as getting the chance to watch some of the great witchy recommendations that you've put forward. Please keep them coming as we head into the new year together. I think I'll also have something new up my sleeve for season 4, so please remember to share the love with any of your witchy friends and subscribe to my channel to stay notified of this new content. And as always, thank you so much for watching here on Which Way.